We're gonna get going, everybody. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. The roll call, please.
Mr. Arcuri?
Here.
Mr. Bova?
Here.
Mr. Brodsky?
Here.
Mr. Coyne?
Present.
Mr. D'Elia?
Here.
Mark Ford?
Here.
Mitch Ford? Mr. Mahardy? Mr. Mutolo? Ms. Sesney? Yep. Mr. Williams? Mr. Zweier?
Here. You have in your packet the draft April 20, 2015 minutes. Is there a motion to approve?
I do.
Second? Thank you. Any comments, concerns, deletions, corrections? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Thank you. The next item on our agenda is a resolution that I'll turn over to Dick.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Capital Committee met last Friday. We discussed three resolutions for action tonight at the board and also some general public or project updates. The committee did reach consensus to pass all of the resolutions onto the board. Like I said, we have three of them. The first one is the award of a construction contract for some tank repairs and painting at two locations, our Gilbert Road and our Lower Higbee Road water tanks. We opened up bids last week and we had three quotes from general contractors. Our low bid was from Worldwide Industries of Butler, PA. They came in at $567,872 within our project budget of $650,000. Worldwide is a company we have not worked with before, so we did spend quite a bit of time last week checking references, both Onondaga County Water Authority, where they've done 5 or 6 tanks within the past several years. And we also called an engineering firm, CT Mail, for which they've done a number of different tanks at different water utilities. And also both sources indicated they were very happy with their work, both in terms of performance, their paperwork, and all the other associated things we asked about. So with that, we would recommend that Worldwide Industries from Butler, PA be awarded this construction contract.
Move to second. Thanks, Jocko. Any questions for Dick regarding this resolution? The motion is the resolution as presented, Bruce. Approve the resolution as presented?
Yes.
Any questions for Dick or further comments on this? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Thank you. The next one, Dick.
It's also a construction contract up at our treatment plant in Prospect. We have 2 pipe bridges that convey our raw water across Trenton Gorge, Trenton Chasm, both built or rebuilt in the late 40s. One of our bridges, the northern bridge, has the pipeline that carries the water has been exhibiting increased frequency of leakage, and we're able to stay ahead of it, but it is time to replace the pipe, the conduit, the steel pipe that goes across about 130 feet. And so we put a construction package together for the installation. We actually bid the materials separately several months ago, and those are ready to come in just to make sure we could get the timing to a point where we wanted it and get the work done when we need it. We had 3 contractors quote. Our low bid was from Daxco Corp of Leicester, New York, Western New York, in the amount of $98,944. We have a total of $150,000 in our capital budget for this, which included about $30,000 worth of materials we already bought. So we have enough funds in the line item to cover this work. Daxco Corp, if you recall, probably don't, but they built our second clear well. They also performed the emergency water main connection when we had our water situation of late September 2007. They performed very well with that. And most recently, 2 years ago, they did install the pipelines under the canal. Same team members and owner, so we would recommend that this be awarded to Daxco Corp in the amount of $98,944.
I'll move it.
Second.
Any questions or concerns for Dick? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Thank you. The last one, please, Dick.
The last one is not construction. It's basically to close out our State Environmental Quality Review Act process for some repairs and maintenance. Typically, we won't bring these before the board for repairs and maintenance of existing facilities because we don't have to. But this project does involve work within the West Canada Creek and getting permits from the DEC, and they're pretty significant scope. So we did take a look at the type of work we're doing. We did confirm that it is exempt from the process, which are type 2 projects by the DEC's definition. And basically what this does, this resolution does, is for the record states that we took a good look at the projects. We did determine they were type 2. We don't need to go any further. The resolution was prepared by Hancock and Estabrook and reviewed by Mr. Bob Rowe. So with this, we'll close out the environmental review portion, and then we will be filing our permits in the next couple of weeks for the work, which involves some erosion repairs within the West Canada where our pipelines are located. Up in Prospect.
Again, you're saying we didn't need to vote on this?
No, you need to vote on it, but basically it's a determination that we don't need to go any farther. That we've taken a hard look at the project.
With concerned agencies.
Yeah.
This process kind of ends the secret end of
Yeah.
things.
I'll move it.
Second, thank you, Denny. Any questions or concerns regarding this resolution? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Thank you, Dick. Committee reports, that was the capital projects committee report. Very well done. Finance, Jim?
Real quickly, this is the fourth month. I think you have the report in your packet, or you should.
Good.
Okay. Revenue is slightly above budget for year-to-date, so that's a good thing. Consumption still down a little bit, about 2.9 million cubic feet, but we did have a recovery of about 2.5 million in the past month, so we're trending in the right way. And cash flow, we're about at a break-even point, and again, moving forward, we have a couple payments we have to make for things like chemicals, activated carbon that's coming in August, trying to just put away some money ahead of time so that when they come due, we're able to pay them. So we're working on that, working on increasing our cash flow in the months.
Any questions for Jim?
I don't know if it's for Jim or not, but consumption seems to go down every year. And the question is, any feel for other companies, other programs where they're experiencing the same stuff? And where's the bottom?
I wish I knew the bottom. What's happening, and we work with our rate consultant every year, and it's averaging between 2 and 3 to 4%, all different parts of the country. So we're not the only one that it's going down. Don't know where the bottom is. Hopefully it's near, because we've been going down for the last several years.
Well, do we have any projections though that, with the Nano Center, if it takes off, when it takes off, I should say, or whatever, will we see that bounce back or go past where we've been? At least bring us back up to.
I guess go past at what point in
Yeah,
time?
no, that's, I just wanted
Maybe five years ago, but definitely 10 years ago.
Yeah, but I mean, we do see it picking up, the levels, obviously, right?
Yeah, I mean, obviously some major development up there would be a good shot in the arm for us financially.
And I guess even with the housing that, is being at least projected now, then, I mean, we should see some increase just with that too.
Yeah, and now from being on the Edge Executive Committee, we work pretty closely with them, and so
Yeah.
when there's something being contemplated, they reach out to us with numbers and ask us to work through and see, so we're coordinating pretty closely with them on any kind of projected revenue and usage.
Right.
Every place you go, you have to open a water faucet.
Yeah, just flush the toilet more times, keep flushing it.
And we know some of our major customers have cut way, way back just when they replace things like the hospitals.
Well, it could be worse, we could be in California.
True. Anything else for Jim? Did you have anything, Rocco?
No.
Executive Director's Report.
Okay, thank you. I have just a couple of items. One is, last month we discussed the fact that it was a tough winter. We had some cost overruns that we knew were happening. We were totaling the expenses from all the breaks. The fact that we used a lot more materials than normal, and pass it down. We said that we would kind of refine those numbers, project what the shortfall was going to be, and come back with any recommendations. And we have that for you now. You'll see in that chart that we went over our materials. As we mentioned before, we did use some outside contractors. Had we not, obviously our overtime numbers would have been higher than what they were, so it's kind of a trade-off. But those are some final numbers, and we do have amounts that went over budget. What we are recommending is that we use reserves that we've built up just for this purpose, kind of our rainy day fund, for just as kind of an event. And the second sheet that we're passing around is a summary of the what we call the Repair and Improvement Fund. And that's the only fund that's with the Bank of New York trustee that has a requirement of a minimum balance, which has to be $500,000. What we have set up internally are sub-accounts. However, when we send that money down, we're recording it here internally under the various sub-accounts that we've elected to set up. But as far as the trustee is concerned, it's all in the Repair and Improvement Fund. That's the only account that they have by name down there. So the number you see at the bottom, that 3.9 figure, is, in the eyes of the trustee, the balance of the Repair and Improvement Fund. And the only requirement is that we have to maintain a minimum balance of $500,000 in that at all times. If we go below it, we have to present the plan to bring it back up to that. So as long as we don't go down to that level, we can take money out freely. This is an unrestricted reserve that's been set up for these purposes. And as you can see, based on the first chart, I guess I gave my copy out. Thanks. Yeah, we do expect to have a shortfall at this point of close to $400,000. There is some savings in the chemical plant process from bidding. We don't want to count on that guiding us all the way through because we still have some numbers to deal with. So right now our controller is recommending a reserve transfer of $400,000 to balance this budget out. And as I said, you know, as we put that money away, we transfer money down there every year to add to that balance. It's for purposes like this, unforeseen expenses, things that are, you know, largely beyond our control, which I think in this winter.
Do we have a budget for this account that we replenish on an annual basis?
Pardon me?
Do we replenish this account if
We budget for reserve deposits, and it doesn't go specifically in our budget, in our sub-account to the Repair and Improvement Fund, but it either goes to the capital reserve account or we'll stick it in the O&M reserve. But as it goes to the trustee, they're depositing it under the general heading of Repair and Improvement Fund. So out of that $3.9 million, anything that we would pull out within the budget to transfer down would go back to that same account.
Pat, just to clarify, we do have the amount, what we call the capital maintenance reserve that we budget each year that we're funding every year. So like in the past budget, I think we had, we're budgeting $550,000 to send down. It would go into this account. But we have a little sub-account there, the 1.7 million that's sitting there. That's where that money we would actually record into that sub-account.
Which is the account that's at the discretion of the chair?
Yeah, what's that one?
It's a $500,000.
That's the Repair and
That's-
Improvement Fund.
That's this
So
fund
that's
that we're
strictly
talking
at the
about.
discretion of the chair.
Is that for the clubhouse up there? Do we still have that house?
registry for that?
No, we don't. We sold it.
That's not enough money either. We'll fix that.
Yeah.
Yep,
No, we did sell
that's
it.
account 652134, and it's one account.
Do you need a resolution for this, Pat?
Well, I guess what we're asking for is a supporting motion, just to endorse the plan. I mean, as has been pointed out, it is at the discretion of the chair. You could authorize that. We just wanted to bring the board up to speed on what we were doing and recommending, because this does affect the budget. We think that the board should be aware of it. So if the board agrees, then we would just ask for a motion to authorize this.
I think it's warranted.
I second. You can put it back.
There is a motion, we will go by motion. We had to use my discretion when we think about that. I'm
We
still
didn't want you to
thinking
get all
about
the blame.
house.
We didn't want you to get the blame.
Any further comments or concerns regarding this?
No, I mean, I guess we need to do it, and the other thing is we do replenish it, because we do.
So that's what it's there
That's
for.
the purpose of it.
That's what it's there for.
Well, we can choose to replenish it, or we can choose not to replenish it.
Right.
But knowing what you've always voted, it's always been to replenish it.
Well, that depends what moves.
Well, my only concern, and my concern, it wouldn't affect this, is the funding that we use to not borrow.
Right.
And that's not affecting that at all. So I think this is very appropriate.
Yes, Benny?
As I mentioned at the last meeting, I don't understand why we have to get outside contractors. I know it was a bad winter, but we've handled them before. So in that case, if this happens again, there is a clause in the contract for a second shift if that helps on the overtime.
That's something that we'd look at, but we had some mitigating factors this winter, predominantly the main one being that the reservoir was so low that we didn't have the luxury of scheduling some of these leaks out a couple days to let them wait.
Right.
So we had to have immediate responses. We had at times 5 or 6 breaks going on at the same time. And as I said earlier, money that we use to hire outside contractors to keep our guys safe and healthy, would have gone into overtime had we used our guys. But, we had jobs where our guys were out there 20 hours straight. We'd go home, and 4 hours later, we're trying to call them back. And, at that point, it gets unsafe. People are operating equipment on lack of sleep, and it's just a dangerous condition. We just chose to, choose a side of caution and make sure the guys can stay healthy.
Well, and the reservoir level was a major factor.
Yeah.
Well, there's also there's a balance here. We are a business, and the business has to make decisions that focus on how do you use your staff and how do you not use your staff, and are you reasonable when you're not using your staff. I mean, it would be nice if we had another crew, but that's a year-round expense. It's not just the expense for the 3 or 4 months that you're focusing on.
Staff for peaking.
Right, so I mean, at this point, I think it was a reasonable expectation that we wanted to balance the use of our staff with outside resources. I mean, I don't like having to spend for contractors either. I understand exactly what you're saying, but this was an awful year.
Well, when you think about it, I mean, if a major storm hits and power lines go down, power companies from all over the Northeast come
All
to
over the
help out.
country are brought in.
Whenever somebody gets inundated with more than they can handle, others can help out. In our case, other water systems didn't, we used contractors.
Anything else on this? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. A couple of real quick items. You know that we have filed a court action over the reservoir level on the contract agreement. Where we're sitting right now is there's no date scheduled yet for the next hearing. We are still in discovery phase, and right now, we just got a minor extension on our side to be able to answer questions that have been asked of us by the Canal Corp and by the state. Those are due next week. We're working closely with the attorneys. Once that information is in, then our attorneys will be back in contact with the judge, and they'll schedule the next phase of it. So we're in just a brief holding pattern for another week or so before we'll know more.
I would like Pat, once that's done, to come down and have a telephone conference with our attorneys to see what we're doing with discovery and all this stuff, when actually we want an enforcement action on what we've already won.
Sure,
We'll
absolutely.
have that discussion.
We definitely.
I don't want to muck up where they're at, because I know the way
Right.
they've done this.
Right.
This has to be
I will
done.
keep it
But
posted.
then I want to talk.
Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely.
We set up a retirement fund, for 1 or 2 people over there.
I
They've done a
mentioned,
great job for us.
I mentioned
I'd
last
like to
month-
just keep up with them, that's all.
yeah, we will. I mentioned last month that we were looking at the option of refinancing a portion of our 2006 bonds. Interest rates were at a point where it looked like we could save about $1 million over the course of the refinancing. Reduce our annual debt service by about $50,000 a year. Unfortunately, rates went up a little bit over the last few weeks, about 70 basis points, 0.7%. So we're kind of on hold right now, but we agreed with our financial consultant, we're going to start putting everything together and have it ready to go on a very short trigger, so that if rates do dip again, which we think they will, we'll be ready to go out of the starting gate on short notice and try to lock that savings in if the right opportunity presents itself to us. So we have not contacted the Water Finance Authority members yet to actually initiate that process. We may do so in the next few weeks if the rates come down.
We're seeing them now.
What's that?
We're seeing them come back.
Yeah, we're hoping they're going to come back down and we'll be able to proceed with that refinancing. But we're going to start on all the background work and get it ready. So you'll hear more if we move ahead with that. Last thing I want to mention is that Dick Goody and I had a meeting with Mayor Palmieri on April 30th to just discuss the condition of road cuts, and also some concern to the city was how we, can cooperate better to deal with hazardous conditions out there in the winter, icing and things like that. So what I asked Ken Barbaro to do is just kind of touch base with the Corporation Counsel office downstairs and just sort of look at what the legal obligations are on both sides. And Ken and I are going to be getting back together to discuss that. But I think it was a productive meeting, and we'll be working pretty closely with the city to make sure that all their concerns are addressed. If there's anything operationally that we choose that we may want to do a little differently, then I may reach out to the chairman and talk about getting an operations committee meeting together and just kind of sit down with the committee and talk about any changes in our procedures if we want to expand any scope of what our responsibilities might be in that regard. But we did give the mayor our pledge that we'll do the best job we can out there at all times and make sure that conditions are clean when we leave the job sites and that the roads are in better shape. We also
We
explained our
met with
contractors.
them earlier, they asked to meet with a few of us, and
Yeah.
they did say and we had even suggested, when the job is completed, they should at least have somebody there to do an inspection so that it gets signed off to say,
Yeah.
we've met our requirements and move on, so that, depending on when they want to come back, it could have been just through, wear and tear erosion that destroyed them again. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I hopefully they're following up on that, because that
I
was.
think they are, and Dick and I have been meeting with our own supervisors in the maintenance department to talk about having our guys follow up on a regular inspection schedule as well. And just making sure that when they leave the job site, everything is up to snuff. There isn't any, extra debris or anything around that has been cleaned up.
Right.
Things of that nature. So I think it was a good meeting, cooperative, and we'll be meeting with them again and follow up. But if it requires any input from the board, if we decide to do things differently, then we'll set up an operations committee meeting and bring something back to the board if it requires a policy change. Other than that, unless there's any questions for me, that's all I have. Oh.
I just wanted to ask the board members if we sent some of the mailing electronically this time.
Yeah.
Would you prefer to go that way and not get a mailing, a board packet actually on paper? Is that okay with everyone?
Yeah, thank you.
There'd be less paper and
I'd also suggest that you talk to our computer office about setting up a website for materials. It should take, like 10 minutes. It could be a blog, it doesn't have to be part of the website. But I'll post all the materials for each meeting, and we can go there and pick them up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only question I had on that was, is there anything there that we feel should be sent on the secured site?
I think that if we have something like communications from our council, things that are confidential that we would deal with in executive session, they should come out to us either here, handed out to us when we're here, because usually on those, we turn them back in again.
Right.
And not go through that process. But I think the rest of it is not an issue.
Okay.
The rest of it's all foilable and it's
Yeah.
all public
99%.
information
Yeah.
anyways.
So if you just
Cover
have
memos,
a-
secret
So
we'll do that.
we just have to remember about
Yeah, I
the
will.
confidential information that
Okay.
shouldn't
I
go
will.
floating around out there
I
someplace.
usually don't mail confidential.
Yeah, no, I'm
Normally
just saying
don't,
if you
but I will
are,
watch
the only
it.
thing is make sure that if you can send it
Okay.
secure, that would probably be the best way to do it.
Okay.
I don't think we do encrypted email there.
No, we'll get too involved.
I know.
This'll work.
But
I'll do
the
basic.
website would be very easy to do and very easy to do on the fly. Just put the materials up. If you want to print it out, we can print it out on our own.
Anything else, Sue?
No.
Anything else, Pat?
No, I just was asked a question about our contractor doing street repairs and whether we were able to get a head start because there was so many, and we actually did that. While it was going out to bid, the contract duration had not expired yet from last year, and the contractor agreed to hold last year's pricing. So we actually had them out early, ahead of the bid for this year's contract, doing some of these larger jobs. So we did get a head start on that, and the same contractor won the bid again. So there'll be total continuity, but we did get an earlier than normal start.
Yeah, they've already started from Northview to Deerfield.
So we got an early start on it.
Anything else, Pat? I would just say that our crews were very appreciative of the luncheon. That was between our board meetings, right?
Yeah.
Okay, just checking.
Yeah.
Very appreciative of the board's support with that luncheon, and I think we gave them a little extra time off that particular day as well. Received a lot of compliments directly for that, so I just wanted you all to know that they appreciate it very much. Do you have anything you want to add to that, Pat?
No, I agree. I think that they enjoyed being recognized and got a little breather. They did get the afternoon off and a nice lunch.
Let's try to appreciate it. Any old business? Any new business? Go Comets, we're adjourned.